Hey, there we go. Look, I think I'm good now. Drop off Light Sports. Now, if I can slide you in here. Oh, yeah. All right, baby. Are we good? Much better. Drop off Light Sports. Jack Wagner. Hey, I'm getting ready for a little golf outing. The JMV Sucks golf outing, just a little bit. There's all kinds of new stuff going on right here. Weird. All right. Thumbs up. Everybody's liking this a lot better than the horizontal weird stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. All right. Yesterday, give me your thoughts on it. Everybody down? Nobody down? Everybody thinking it was bad? Jeff, seen a little bit. Ian, good morning. Colleen, Ryan's in Panama City, I believe. Kurt. All right. Bad call, good call. I'll give you a great example. So I put on my Twitter page, guts or nuts. Listen, I thought here, you don't want to just give away. I don't care what the expectations are or not. You don't want to just simply give away. That's essentially what they did, is gift wrap a division game at home to Houston. That's what they did. Do I want a coach that goes for it? Yes. I don't know if I'd necessarily, moving forward, want a coach that goes for it in those situations. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not Bill Belichick yet, right? And hopefully he's not a knucklehead. In those situations, it's easy for Frank Reich to do that yesterday. It's easy because everybody out here likes him right now. Everybody thinks he's really good, and he's not Chuck Pagano. Most of you are saying good call. I love the call, bad execution. But that's the problem, though. You make the call and you don't execute, and you're screwed. That's the problem. The end result is the issue. I understand they're probably not going to come back and haunt him this year, right? I'm not a fan of gift wrapping games to division rivals, but that's kind of what they did yesterday. So many years of playing it safe, it was refreshing. Yeah, but there've been so many years of losing. And losing bad. And I get what you're saying. I do. Really, it's not black or white. All right, it's not black or white. That hey, if you're in the has balls and that's a great crowd, I have no problem with it. If you're saying, man, you just kind of blew a game, and ties suck. It's nice to have big balls. That's great. But that stuff better work out. And lucky for Frank that he's in year number 1 and everybody loves him right now. Hey, I got a quick question, and not that this matters a great deal, but what would have happened had Josh McDaniels been the coach and made that call? And everybody hated him coming in? It's different. It's how you feel right now. I agree. You guys have been through bad coaching. You like Frank Reich. I'm just telling you, in a situation 2 or 3 years from now, when you're actually going to be playing for something, you don't do that. All right? Can we just all be like yesterday? Do it. You don't have anybody out there. You don't have any expectations this year. You're not going to make the postseason, right? That's why you do it yesterday. You don't want him doing that all the time, do you? That's from Corey Hall. First, I hated the call, but after thinking about it, I understand. I do. I really get it. It's not like I overly hate it. I just don't think that's something you live with in a season where something's on the line. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the year, if you're actually playing for something, that tiebreak can come back and haunt you. That's what I think. And you're right. Colleen says Belichick went for it on 4th and 2, but he's Belichick, though. Belichick can do anything, and people are probably going to say it's genius, right? And Frank's not there yet, but Colleen, Frank is in a spot where, he's got really nothing to lose right there. I get the nothing to lose attitude. I don't think the nothing to lose attitude is going to be that severe moving forward. You know what I mean? Derek says Colts have been in every game. I love the effort, the use of this team. Ceiling is pretty. You gotta read more of it here. Sorry about that, Derek. I didn't mean to put that there. Pretty damn high. Christopher says I get the call, but a tie versus division so much better than a loss. I just don't like. Listen, I'm never gonna like gift wrapping like they did a win for a division rival. I'm just not gonna like that. I don't. Again, I don't think that there is a definitive answer on either side. I think the definitive answer is how you feel about this team, and if you're willing to say, all right, down the road, let's say they do get sparked and they are in it, that could come back to haunt you. But Frank is in a position, because he's a first-year head coach that everybody likes, that he can make that call. Here's another great example too. And I don't know what the equivalent of the situation would be, honestly, guys, but I was thinking about this. What if this year, you have all these expectations on the Pacers, that Nate McMillan, who's been around forever, does something, makes a call that basically, the call that you make hinges on winning or losing a game, right? I mean, I think the way that you react to others, for example, the way you react with the Pacers with the high level of expectations is different with the way that you act with this Colts team, where you know that it's kind of a rebuild there. Well, you absolutely in a rebuild. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I think people would be calling for Nate McMillan's head. It's like if Chuck Pagano did that last year, I mean, you guys would have shot him out of town on a rocket, right? So it's not black and it's not white. It's not. I mean, I like a guy that's aggressive. I want a guy when, you're really playing for something in a season that is more meaningful than just a rebuild. I don't know if I want my coach to do, like 3 years down the road and the Colts are 3-0. Let's say that the Colts are 3-0. Would you want the Colts at 3-0 doing that? That's all I'm trying to say. That's why there is not a definitive answer here. The only thing that I look at with this is, I don't think just because you're not chest thumping about, hey, this guy has big balls and that's great, I don't think that's a bad thing. And I also don't think on the other side, those that suggest that Frank is incompetent for making that call, I don't think they're accurate either. It just depends on what you're looking at right now. I mean, and the situation is everybody likes Frank, and Frank in that time and that place can afford to do it, right? I mean, that's just something you don't want your coach doing in the future. If it's a season like this, I think you're okay with it, right? All right, let's get some thoughts here. Chris Tyler says, gave us something to talk about. If they punted and tied, that would be a minute of boring conversation. You know what? It's all kind of overcoming stuff. I mean, we'd be talking certainly about Luck today. I thought Luck had a really good game. Dave Long says Frank is learning as he goes. Oh, I don't think, Dave, honestly, I don't think that had anything to do with learning. I think he just wanted to do that. I think he wanted to do that. And again, if you're going to test pilot some situations, test pilot the situations this year, right? And I will say this, there's a lot to be said as long as if your locker room agrees with you and it further galvanizes you, I think that's good. I think that's good. If everybody is on board and, hey, we're going to go for it, and that's great, that's good. But at times that always doesn't work that way. Sometimes you might think, well, wait a minute, this guy just absolutely tossed away. I mean, we got tagged with an L in this situation. Sometimes that can splinter. But again, you get the benefit, if you're Frank Reich, of having a young locker room, a rebuild mode, and most people are not going to get mad. I mean, I could check the stats on what I did as far as the poll was concerned, and there's nobody out there mad. Nobody out there mad. And granted, I mean, you can look back, and yeah, there were a variety of things. Actually, the game should have been over because Hopkins, basically dropped a touchdown pass that would have ended it. I mean, the game should have been over. But what we're doing is talking about, in this case, that play call itself. In the moment, the more and more you think about it, the more and more you say, what the hell? Might as well, right? What the hell, you might as well. I'm just saying, you don't always want to be that overzealously gambling, right? I mean, we do understand that, right? Right? I mean, yesterday, I can understand it. I don't know in 2 years if I'm going to be able to understand it. The thing I can't get past, more so than anything else, is, again, just kind of giving the game to the Texans, right? I mean, they haven't given the Colts anything, right? I mean, I don't like just basically giving it to them. And again, it wasn't a foregone conclusion if you go for it on 4th and 4, you get that first down, that you were actually, still going to win the game. But I think a lot of people like the ballsy approach. But believe me, as dumb as you would have thought that would have been on Pagano to make that move last year. In 3 years, if this team is actually playing for something, 2 years, if this team is playing something, I guarantee you guys will believe that move, if they would do it again, is equally stupid. That's why I don't think he's going to do that if they believe they're in contention for something. I think yesterday you just kind of feel the need because of the situation to be able to do it, right? Bobby Carter says, punting in that situation is saying, well, at least we didn't lose. Loser mentality. But at the end of the day, Bobby, you lost. At the end of the day, you are a loser. I mean, I understand. It's great to have that mentality. I'm saying yesterday, fine. But if you're playing for something, you can't do that. Can't do it. Can't do it if you're playing for something. I'm more trying to figure out why Luck held on to the ball in the previous series and took a... Listen, there's no way in the world I'm going to rip on Luck for anything. I don't care if you talk about his low throw. I don't care if you talk... That guy was under siege the entire stinking afternoon. That guy put them in position with that type of day with people most of you have never heard of, right? LaRaven, I mean, and was under... They got lucky, really. Here's where the luck came. You guys ready? In the fourth quarter, they got lucky that it wasn't the offensive line. They're lucky the Houston guys got tired. Those Houston guys were gassed. Absolutely gassed. Watt was gassed. Clowney was gassed. I mean, they were toast. You could tell. I mean, you could tell at the end. So they were kind of lucky that situation was the way that it was. It wasn't all of a sudden the offensive line stepping up big. I mean, I know people are going to tell you that, but that's not true. That wasn't because the offensive line stepping up and, hey, look, now they're really... No, it had everything to do with those guys were physically drained. They were gassed. All right, a couple things I know. Marcus Johnson catches a pass. We're not having this conversation. Hey, let me get back to one thing, too, regarding Andrew Luck. I thought Andrew Luck was outstanding yesterday. I thought he fought through stuff. I thought he was really good in the passing game. I don't care what anybody says. But people have asked me, so do you think his arm is okay? Listen, my problem is not overall with his arm. My problem was with his arm late in the game last week. That's where I thought, oh, man, there's something going on here. It was the drive leading to the Hail Mary and then being subbed out for the Hail Mary. And if you saw yesterday, he threw a Hail Mary. So last week was different than this week. And you can tell. I mean, you can tell that last week for him, and again, weather conditions had something to do with it last week too, but last week was different than this week for him. We got here, Dave Long. Nope, let's see. Barber says, yeah, for the Yankton boy, Adam Vinatieri, yes. Heath Bartlett says, I just wish for the Colts fans he had thrown it away. Yeah, there's nothing negative on Luck for me today. Nothing. I mean, that guy, the only thing that I can think of more than a couple, like a low pass at the end on that 4th and 4, was I wanted him to take off running more. And did you guys realize that at the end of the game, he started to run a lot more? He started to run a lot more. And he said after the game that things are starting to come back up to speed now. Like he's got better recognition. And I think that's been part of the issue. And that may very well be part of the issue last week. Maybe it's not velocity or arm strength or a tired arm late in the game. Maybe it's just the decision-making that's a click or two behind. He talked about it yesterday, too. Delvin, good morning to you. More questions regarding yesterday. So overall, everybody is satisfied with the 4th down call. Let me give you a disagreement here. Bob Kravitz wrote something, and I saw this at Channel 13 WTHR, about it being egregious and about it being awful, and now, Frank's officially on the clock. I don't think it's that bad. Again, I think we need to recognize where we are. There's a reason before the start of the season when I said this team goes 8-8 and you should be happy. There's a reason why you should be happy, because that's it. There's no doubt these have all been incredibly winnable games, but the fact remains is that they lost those games. I mean, it's great. I know you don't. I hate ties, and the NFL suck too. But you don't play for a tie, but you also don't want to lose. And the end result is you lose. That's the real part of the decision, is that you lost. Whether it's about execution or the call or just the team was better. And in this case, it's not like the team was better. All right? That is why this is a slippery slope, because you basically said, here's the game. I don't think in the NFL you have the luxury of doing that, certainly very often, right? It's like as a general manager in the NFL, you don't have the luxury of hiring somebody and then all of a sudden figuring out they're not coming. You don't have that luxury. But again, here, go back to February, it was okay because nobody around here liked McDaniels, didn't like that decision anyway, so it was good. Normally that thing would linger. Everybody likes Frank. Frank makes that decision right now, man. He's riverboat gambler and he's going for it. He's the anti-Chuck, and I get it, and it feels good. But again, the end result is what is tough. At the end of the day, you still get an L. You still give a game to a division rival, which I sit here right now and tell you I'm never going to be a fan of. But do I understand what you're trying to do? I absolutely do. It's not black or white. It's not. People are going to paint you into that corner where it is. Hey, you got to take one side or the other. No, you don't. You don't have to take one side or the other. All right, you can understand both because that's reason and that's logic. You can understand what they were doing. I do understand what they were doing. But again, if you want to get to the bottom line is they lost. All right? I mean, you can feel good all about, you feel good about, not wanting to tie and going for it, but you still get a big fat L, and you give a division rival their first win of the season. All right, what else we got here? Timothy Parrish says luck is back, but can't be holding the whole team on his back. Yeah, no doubt. Hey, by the way, looks like Chris Ballard's going to be on Colts Roundtable Live later on tonight, so I'm sure he's going to be discussing this. That's coming up after me later on today. Why am I so dark all of a sudden? Is that, okay, great. Is that my phone? You guys are right. I need a new phone here. And see, I agree. I mean, if tiebreakers do matter if you're playing for something, and I think this is like a test case season, right, Dave? I mean, that's basically, well, that call is what you're saying. It's, you know what? You're probably not going to be there at the end, so what the hell? But from all the fans I've heard from, nobody's really having a problem with it. You know what? You're probably not going to be there, so what the hell? We'll do that. That's kind of what you're saying here. But it's not, again, it's not definitive one way or the other. I mean, the chef, oh, yeah, man, my man going for it. Yeah, he's got balls. I mean, the balls crowd versus the brain crowd, everybody has some pretty good points, I think, to be made on this. This stuff we'll talk about later on today. What do you think? Anyway, later on today, all you need to know about that, we'll have it for you. Rick Venturi is going to be must listen. He told me last night he wasn't a fan of it. Here's what's funny.